You've just been found guilty. But the judge doesn't send you to prison. He gives you 5 doors. Behind the 5th, strangers decide if you eat today. Behind the 4th, your own bones decide when it stops. Behind the 3rd, the last thing you'll ever want is shade. Behind the 2nd, your lungs become the weapon. But the last door? We will answer that too. 5 real sentences. From 5 real courts. In 5 real moments of human history. 3 questions before we open first door. Why did ordinary people gather and cheer watching someone suffer? Was the physical pain ever actually the point? Which punishment had a doctor in the room? So keep watching till the end to find the answers. Fact 5. The Cangue. Door 5 opens, and at first, you almost feel lucky. Just a wooden board, but then 2 guards grab your arms. They force your head through a hole in the middle. And suddenly that board is locked around your neck. It's wider than your shoulders. Heavy enough to drag your head forward. Awkward enough that every step feels wrong. You try to scratch your nose. You can't. You try to wipe the sweat from your eyes. Still can't. And then you notice the writing. Your name is on the board. Your crime is on the board. Your shame is hanging from your neck. You are forced into the street. Every stranger becomes part of your sentence. Some people stare. Some laugh. Some read your crime out loud like it's street entertainment. And you want to hide your face, but the board won't let you. You want to run, but the weight slows you down. You want to disappear, but the whole point is that you can't. Hours pass. You try to sit. The board hits the ground wrong. You try to eat. Your hands can't reach your mouth. A stranger has to feed you. A stranger has to give you water. A stranger has to decide whether you deserve help. The Cangue doesn't kill you quickly. It makes you beg slowly. Tomorrow, you don't wake up free. Same board, same name, same crime, same people staring. The judge who sentenced you had a name for this. The Cangue, a legal sentence written into the official law codes of Imperial China, used for over 1,000 years. The board weighed up to 20 kilograms. One documented case, a man sentenced to 60 days for stealing grain. Unable to feed himself, paraded through the same streets every single day. The Qing Code called this one of its lighter punishments. The mild option. This was door 5th. Historians called it the mildest of the 5, and it already broke you. Fact 4. The Whirligig. Door 4 opens, and this one doesn't look like punishment. It looks like a carnival ride. A metal cage mounted on a post, sitting in the middle of a military camp. But then they open the cage door, and they're looking at you. The cage is just big enough to hold you. The door slams. For a second, nothing happens. Then a soldier grabs the post and starts to turn it. Slow at first, 1 rotation, 2, 3, then faster. Your stomach lurches, your vision splits. The ground becomes the sky becomes the ground becomes the sky. You try to find something fixed, something still. There is nothing still. There is only the spinning. And then you hear it. Laughter. Not from one man, from dozens. They are cheering. Some are placing bets. Because that's what this is to them. Not a punishment, a show. You are the entertainment. Your neck snaps sideways. Something shifts inside your arm that shouldn't shift. Your vision goes dark at the edges. Your body stops fighting. And still, the cage turns. Until your bones have said everything they had to say. Until you pass out. And even then, they don't always stop. The general who ordered your cage had a name too. Brigadier General Henry Dearborn. American military camp, Albany, New York, 1812. He didn't use this on murderers or spies. He used it on his own soldiers for minor offenses, being late, disobeying a small order. Witnesses recorded dislocated bones, severe bruising, permanent mental breakdown. Some men never fully recovered. And the soldiers watching? They were ordered to watch. But records show many of them were smiling. Nobody ordered them to smile. That is the answer to the first question. They didn't need a reason. They didn't need permission. Put a crowd in front of someone else's pain. And some of them will always smile. This was door 4. Fact 3. Drying pirates. Door 3 opens, and for a moment, it's beautiful. Blue sky, ocean breeze, salt in the air. But then you look up. A small iron cage, hanging in the direct path of the sun. No shade, no cover, just open sky. And that's where you're going. The cage is smaller than it looked from below, You have to bend your knees to fit. The iron bars are already warm, and it's only morning. The lock clicks, everyone leaves. No executioner, no blade, just the sun doing its job. By the first hour, bars too hot to touch. By the third, your lips crack. You look at the ocean below, all that water, right there, completely unreachable, not an accident. They chose this spot deliberately. They wanted you to see the water. Your mouth turns to sand. You find the one small shadow a bar creates, the width of your finger. It moves every few minutes. You follow it. The cage doesn't come down at night, doesn't come down the next morning either. And when it was finally done, they left the cage up, skeleton inside. As a warning to anyone passing below, the court that sentenced you had a location, Port Royal, Jamaica, 17th and 18th century. Death by dehydration and heat stroke, not in minutes, hours, sometimes days. The locations became so well known they were renamed. Dead Man's Cay, Rackham's Cay. You were not meant to disappear. You were meant to be seen, forever. Now here is the answer to the second question. Was the physical pain ever actually the point? Look at where they placed the cage. Not in a field, not in a desert, next to the ocean. So you could see water you could never reach. The sun was just the mechanism. The real punishment was the view. This was door 3. But you are still wondering why a punishment would need a doctor. You would get the answer soon. Fact 2. Execution by ash. Door 2 opens. A small stone room, 2 guards, that's it. Compared to what came before, a room feels survivable. The floor is soft under your feet. You look down. Not stone, not dirt, powder, fine, dark, covering every surface. Walls, floor, ceiling. Something in your body is already saying, get out. The door closes, the lock slides. Silence, 3 seconds, 4. Then, a low sound from inside the walls, like bellows starting to breathe. The powder moves, slowly at first. Then, the whole room fills. You cover your mouth, but fine ash doesn't wait for permission. It finds the gaps between your fingers, the corners of your lips, the space between your eyelids. You drop to your knees looking for clean air near the floor. There is none. Your lungs burn. Your body tries to cough it out, but coughing opens your mouth wider. And more comes in. This is not fire. Fire has a shape. This has no shape, no direction. The civilization that built your room left records. Ancient Persia, 500 BC. Mechanical bellows pumped heated ash into sealed chambers. Josephus documented it. Fine particles at that temperature destroy lung tissue directly. Menelaus of Jerusalem, 161 BC, one of the most documented cases. The Persians called this formal legal execution, not torture. A bureaucracy of ash, no blood, no blade, no mess, just a room and a locked door. Fact 1. The 40-day nightmare. Last door opens. The crowd isn't cheering. They are watching quietly, the way people watch something they know they will never forget. A guard hands you a piece of paper, one number, 40. You think, 40 days. I can do 40 days. Day 1 begins. By the end of it, you understand the number. Day 2, day 3. Every day a different method. Every day something that still feels. Because you have to be able to feel tomorrow. Between sessions, a physician comes in. You don't understand why. A doctor, in here, for you. What does a punishment need a doctor for? Keep watching. By day 7, you've stopped counting. By day 12, you've stopped hoping. By day 19, you've stopped looking at the door. But they account for that. There are always other things. Day 33, the physician nods. You will make it to tomorrow. That nod is the cruelest thing anyone has ever done to you. Day 40. The guard doesn't come, the door stays closed. It's over. Not because you broke, not because anyone showed mercy, because the number said 40. And 40 is done. You walk out. They don't look at you like a survivor. They look at you like a warning. The man who designed your 40 days had a title, Duke Bernabo Visconti. He called it the Quaresima. Milan, Italy, 1354. Eyes, ears, nose, limbs, skin, joints, one by one, day by day. Minimal care between sessions, not out of mercy, out of mathematics. So this was the answer to your last question. A doctor does not want you to die. Doctor wants to ensure that you stay till the day 40 to bear the pain. You become an example for others. Milan's own chronicles recorded it. Historians called it unmatched. Nothing like it before, nothing after. 40 days, designed to the last detail. 5 doors, the board around your neck, the cage that spun until your bones gave up, the iron cage under the Caribbean sun, the sealed room full of burning ash, and 40 days of a physician keeping you alive for tomorrow. 5 real sentences, 5 real court. One strange fact, one of these 5 punishments is still being handed down in modern courtrooms. Which one? Door 1. The mild one. The one you almost felt lucky about. In the modern era, judges in the United States actively sentence people to stand on public street corners holding signs describing their crimes. Now you're thinking, that's it? A board and a street? That doesn't sound cruel. But here is what nobody tells you. Bones heal, burns heal. Even 40 days, the body eventually finds a way, but shame doesn't heal. Shame follows you home. Shame is in the eyes of every person who knew you before. The spinning cage broke your bones, the ash filled your lungs. The 40 days took everything left. But the Cangue? The Cangue made you pray for all of those instead, because at least those end. Shame doesn't end.